So in this video, I just kind of wanted to go over some of the incidents that I've had while driving. I've never actually been in an accident. I've gotten a seatbelt ticket, but that's the worst that I've ever gotten as far as speeding or doing something illegal while driving. Basically, I just wanted to explain, how to avoid these road rage incidents, because people are crazy, and it's easy to if you have a hot temper, to get carried away with these crazy people while driving. But it's just important that you keep a level head in all circumstances. The Bible says to love your enemies as yourself, and I think that's an important rule to live by while driving, particularly with dealing with people who are enraged behind the wheel, because everybody's got someplace to go, and some people are just very impatient, and that just because you're very impatient and have a hot temper does not mean that you're not gonna not be able to drive. Some of them shouldn't, but I'm a very passive driver, and I have 4 situations that I can think of off the top of my head that I'll kind of share about vaguely today. And so I've obviously, with my car running the way it is, I do get given the finger a lot, and I get honked at a lot, especially merging on highway. Probably a dozen times since my car hasn't been running the best. It takes me a long time to accelerate, and it's not real good up hills. So I do from time to time get honked at, and I just ignore it. I just keep driving, keep my eyes on the road, keep driving, keep the task at hand, and understand maybe that person has a death that they're dealing with, or somebody is dying in that car to where they need to get someplace quickly. So the 4 that I'm thinking about don't have anything to do with those. They mainly have to do with tours. I guess 2 of them, because I do tours, and sometimes I have to drive through a town multiple times. So it can get a little bit awkward. So the reason I bring up this video is because it happened just recently. I was involved with a road rage incident. Fortunately, there was nothing that was done really, besides I got yelled at. Somebody just said, "Hey!" So I just drove off. But I'll kind of explain it. And in there, it was a very voice that they were very heated. You could tell it was a lot louder than that. But so my thing is, I just ignore it, because I'm never going to see the person again. And I just drove off. I was basically done with the tour. I'm like, I'm not going to screw around with this. And if you know a good verse to put under your, put behind your visor, or put on your windshield, or something like that, I think that would be good, especially if you're prone to dealing with anger. I know a lot of people are. I don't have anger bad. Generally, if I'm really mad, I'll kind of just avoid situations rather than getting angry about it. And then I think generally over time you level off, and you can deal with those situations where you're agitated and very angry in a level-headed manner, like I'm doing now, because I think I was really heated at that time, and I could have said some really nasty things, potentially gotten shot, or I didn't have a gun, but I wanted to shoot him. That's just how it is. When somebody's following you and you're trying to do your business, and so I'm doing a tour. I probably drove through there a few times. I have to do that in order to do a tour, and so basically I drove through the town, and I put on my 4-ways. Somebody was following me really closely. They backed out of a place. It was clear they were following me. So I was taking some pictures, my windows down, and that's when he shouted at the window, "Yet, hey!" So as soon as he yelled at the window, I've learned just ignore it. I rolled my window up and just drove off. And then I was on Route 88 in West Mecca, which is about probably 45 miles from my home. and I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm done with the tour. I've gotten basically everything that I wanted to do. So I went in the other thing is, I would encourage you not to get in a situation where they can block you in. So don't go into a driveway and expect to back out, because they could easily block you in. Don't do that. So make sure there's always an exit. So on Route 88, in the middle of Mosquito Lake, which is right where West Mecca is, there is a turnaround, which you can turn your car around and also fish into the lake of Mosquito Lake. So I knew about that, and I went to that point in the middle of the lake and turned around in there. He followed me all the way around there. I did a U-turn in that turnaround, and he followed me out, and we went back through the town. And then I was driving about 55. He was tailgating me the whole way really closely. It was bothering me, definitely. And I continued to drive. I got to Bristol Ville. There's a red light, and I was afraid he was going to get out and start to shoot at me or something. And clearly he had a mental illness. So I was basically, when I got to Bristol Ville, I made a right-hand turn. He followed me there, and then I went around the block. It wasn't a long block at all, but he followed me all the way around the block, and I went through like a church parking lot. And I timed the light to where I knew it was green at the time, so I knew it was going to turn red. And then as I was turning yellow, like, I went through the light, and I knew he shouldn't go through the light, follow me, but he went through the red light, follow me. So for about 10 more miles after that, he was following me. And then eventually he started to slow up and then made a left-hand turn. So I don't know what he wanted, but I think it was probably just because I drove through the town multiple times taking pictures, and he thought maybe I was some sort of psychopath, which I can understand, but don't harass people for using their First Amendment right. And that's why I didn't want to approach, because generally those sort of people who are going to follow you and yell at you are very mentally insecure people. So I just decided to ignore it, and I think I did the best thing. I made it out of there alive. And so the next one, I was 17 years old, driving over to Uniontown with a friend. If you know Uniontown, it runs right, if you take State Street, it runs right into Uniontown, and you hit Cleveland Avenue. There's a no turn on red sign. So somebody was following me really closely, and they got out of their vehicle and started yelling at me and point their finger. So my friend was in there too. He didn't have too much of a hot temper either, but we were going to visit somebody else, and the guy accused me of brake checking him. He was following me feet apart, and I didn't even know I did it, but evidently he was really mad and hot-tempered, psychopath. So I don't remember what he looks like or anything, but I just know it was nasty, and I was a little bit afraid at that point, you know, only being 17 years old and never having dealt with anything like that at all. So I couldn't, at this point I would have just turned right, even though there's a no right turn on red. I remember nobody was coming from the other direction that would have clipped me or anything. So I would have been fine to turn right as soon as I saw somebody get out of the vehicle that's tailgating me really closely. I probably would have just gotten out of the vehicle. I'm sorry, I would have turned right rather than confronting, because you're never gonna see that person again. That's just the way I look at it. Like, you're never gonna see the person again. What's the point of having a big argument? And even if you feel like you win, there's thousands of other people who behave like that, and you're not gonna cure road rage just because one person, you won a fight against one person. Just people are crazy, and just because, like I said, you don't get your license revoked just because you're a crazy person. Sometimes you do, but a lot of times there's crazy people behind the wheels as well. So you just got to be careful with what you say. I don't know if he had a gun. I remember he did have like a baggy shirt on, so he might have had a gun or something, but I don't know. and I just said, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I brake checked you. I didn't confront him about tailgating me or anything like that, but he clearly was. You want to give people, you know, at least a car length in between you, probably more, probably like 3 or 4 car lengths. But I was going the speed limit, and some people just like to harass others. So the next one probably the least severe, but I was going to college. I was probably about 22 at the time. I was going over to Kent Stark. So I was taking a kind of a unusual way through Columbiana County in a rural area, and somebody was following me. It was actually a lady this time. She was following me for about 5 miles, really close to. I made some unusual turns and realized, you know, she's following me very closely. We were about the only 2 people that were on the roads that day, and she was following me very closely. And so basically what I did was, we were at there's an intersection. I don't remember. I think it was on like Beach Road or something, but I don't know. And then I remember my road did not have a stop sign. Their road did. So basically what I did was I put on my 4 ways and stopped, and then she left me enough to turn around. So basically I backed up and, you know, to that stop sign, and then went the other way. And she was confused with what to do because she clearly wanted a confrontation. So she like pulled over. She turned right and then kind of stopped, and I didn't even hear. I had my window up, so I don't know if she said anything or not. I didn't even look. You want to kind of avoid eye contact when dealing with these situations, so I didn't even look at her. But she found a driveway and then pulled around and started following me, trying to follow me. But I was, you know, prior to my car having these difficulties that it's having right now, I found some roads that I could go around and lose her. So I lost her, and I don't know what made her so mad, but yeah, that's another one I've got. And then the last one, maybe the worst as far as confrontation, but I don't know, the guy getting out of his vehicle. This guy didn't get out of his vehicle, but so I was in Cortland, which is not far from the first one I was doing a tour in West Mecca. Like, they're both on Mosquito Lake. Cortland's on the southeastern side of the lake. So I'm at McDonald's, you know, taking some pictures. Probably one picture of McDonald's, because there's every town has a McDonald's, and I think it's just a cool thing to get a McDonald's, you know, in the tour. I don't even know if I use the picture, but I like to get a lot of pictures of the town when I do these tours. So evidently there was some sociopath or psychopath, whatever you call him, walking out of the Walmart, and I took the picture as he was walking out, and he got in his car, and then he saw me taking some more pictures, and then they're not of him at all. He thought they were of him. He must have been on some sort of crime show that didn't want his picture taken or something. I don't know. But so I'm about to turn left, and then he is about to turn right, and then he starts honking his horn, and then he juts over and cuts this person off that was right behind me, and starts tailgating me like a few feet behind me, and starts honking his horn. And then I'm just continuing to take the picture like normal, and I get in the middle lane to have him go around me, and he followed me in the middle lane, like, because, you know, there's 3 lanes of traffic at this point, because it was in the downtown area. And in the middle, you know, sometimes in downtown areas there's if it's a small town, there'll be like a middle lane for turning left. And so he followed me there. So then I'm like, I'm just gonna continue to drive, do the tour like normal. So I'm just taking my picture as he's following me, honking. And yeah, I went around, and then eventually I'm just like, I'm gonna go into this gas station and see what he wants. I was a little bit more friendly to this guy, the guy in West Mecca, and this is why I'm not friendly anymore, because of what this guy did. He started recording it and yelled at me, and then the only thing I basically remember he said, I've never seen the video. I've looked at it before, and it was in Cortland, but I think he probably didn't use it because he's the one who sounded very enraged and infuriated, and he probably didn't want to sound that way. But I don't know. I mean, he looked kind of like he was probably an inmate or just got out of prison. Like he wasn't well trimmed at all, and yeah, didn't drive a too nice of a vehicle. So probably, I'm sure he spent some time in jail to just do that. I mean, that's just crazy. And why are you mad about somebody using their First Amendment right? So I didn't say anything confrontational at that point, because you know, he was taking a video of me, and I know that's his right, so I respected that. But he's like, "What do you think? You're above the law?" This is about the only thing I remember him saying that. For swerving in and out of traffic, I didn't say, "Well, I'm trying to get you to go around me, sir, because it's very distracting when you're trying to do a tour." And I told him, I'm doing a tour. I do these tours all the time, and yeah, he's still mad. And then eventually at the end, I kind of talked him down. He wasn't as mad. He waved as I went off. But yeah, that's why I don't stop when people confront you like that, because it's just not worth it. And then I was afraid because I thought he was going to manipulate the video to make me look to be like some sort of idiot or doing some sort of crime, because that's something that the media does. It can make good people look like the terrible people, and the media can also make bad people look like they're really good. So I was afraid he was going to make me look like I'm committing some sort of crime or doing something illegal. He had my license plate, obviously, because he was following me, and I saw him holding his camera at that, or his cell phone, and he's holding his cell phone like this, just talking. And when the confrontation happened, not talking, I shouldn't say talking, because he wasn't talking, he was yelling. But like I said, I kind of talked him down and was able to go on my way. He went the other way, and after he found out what I was doing, he's like, okay. And but it'd be easy to make that a lot worse than it had to be, if you're a high-headed person. So I found this verse actually that you can tape to your car, your window, your mirror, or somewhere inside the car where you can see it. It is Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. So I'm going to leave it with that. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoy the video, and hope, if your road rage incidents, if you have any, you're very self-controlled and kind of just avoid the situation altogether. That's what I've learned. You're never going to see the person again. There's hundreds more out there, thousands more out there, and just by winning one argument, you're not going to win every person over. You got to influence people in another way to do that. Thank you.